Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with another brand new Mattel Jurassic World Survival release. As you can see, we have another of the Frenzy Packs, as this time we've got the Plesiosaurus, and what a unique looking version this is. We've had quite a few Plesiosaurus figures in the past from Mattel, but never one that looks quite as crazy as this. It's always interesting to me that Mattel never goes like over the top with the color schemes of the Plesiosaurus. I don't know why. They're usually either kind of just like boring colors or just at the very least not really all that flashy but still natural. This one has a little bit of flashiness but still not all that much. But if we turn it around, take a look at the back of the packaging, you can see all of the other figures that are in this wave. So far only one of which we've reviewed, but we will of course get through all of them over time. So let's pop this out of the box and check it out. So here is our crazy looking version of the Plesiosaurus from Mattel, and this one is definitely the most significantly different version of this species that we have had from Mattel so far. It's very unique looking, absolutely has the type of look that I would have expected to have seen in something like, you know, The Land That Time Forgot or something like that. It just has that sort of a look to it, a uniqueness to it. So it's pretty cool looking when it comes to being like a hybrid style or a mutated style figure. But if we bring it in nice and close, we start here in the head sculpt. You can see the head sculpt looks pretty nice when it comes to the fine detail. You've got the nostrils sculpted out up here, as well as some kind of small bumpy scales with sort of creasing and stuff throughout. There's also some nice creases there around the eye. I'm very intrigued to see that the eye is just a straight up white tone of color with no pupil at all. Obviously it was purposely done that way, and that's a very unique and creepy look for this one. They definitely gave us one of the more horrifying versions of a Plesiosaurus that I could possibly imagine. You do, of course, have a nicely articulated jaw, which inside the mouth we have a light pinkish tone of color, which you can see the tongue as well in there. No coloration for the upper side of the inside of the mouth, unfortunately. The teeth are all sculpted in fairly decent fashion, and they're painted with a yellowish tone. They also have interlocking teeth, and they move pretty smoothly there between each other. Very, very nice articulated jaw. As you move up to the top of the Plesiosaur, you can see a few more wrinkles, as well as kind of like some bumpier scales as you move down. They're kind of sporadic, though. It's mostly just like standard marine reptile sort of skin texture with some bumpy scales here and there. You also do have some ridges moving along the back of the neck, and they pick up right behind the head, but then they end as you move down here into the bottom of the neck. No further do you see those at all, but then you have these really weird sort of like fins sticking out of the side of the neck, and they are colored with a really cool kind of like a light neon sort of a tone of color. It's a very interesting tone of color, but it does look pretty cool and plays off of the dark bluish tones of the body very nicely. And again, as we move down, you can see that the skin texture does look really good. It's very impressive, but the detailing even out here in these crazy fins looks pretty nice. You can see what the underside as well looks like, and then of course the skin texture on the underside of the throat also looks really good. Pretty much the same style as what we see up in the top, kind of like creases and stuff here and there, or like just cracks and crevices to the skin with small bumpy scales moving down. As we lead to the bottom of the neck, we do have articulation, so you can get the neck up and then put the neck down. Not a whole lot of range of movement. As you move into the body, you can see the spinal column following along the top of the figure. We can also see again the same type of skin texture moving down through the course of the body with the creases and small bumpy scales. We do as well see the rib cage right there shining in the stomach region. Then you move out into the flippers, and these front flippers are quite large. And on top of that, they've got all sorts of little injuries and kind of like chunks and stuff taken out of them. The skin texture in the flippers follows the same type of skin texture we see through the course of the body, but it also looks pretty nice down here as well. And then you move, of course, over to the other side. Same thing going on over here, just different sort of injuries and stuff, different direction for the stripes. Well, not really, but I mean, it's not like a totally replicated look from one side to the other, which is nice. As you move back here, the stripes are a little bit thinner on these rear flippers, but again, the flippers as a whole are significantly larger than you would expect to see on a plesiosaur, and even so, compared to the older plesiosaurs from Mattel, they're significantly larger. And then you move out into the tail sculpt, and the tail sculpt as well has a very different look to it compared to the older versions. So this one is definitely significantly mutated compared to what we saw on the older Plesiosaur. And there is the Fax app code if you would like to add that to your collection. But again, the same sort of thing going on the underside, except you do actually have like a little bit of a speckling of that green here on the underside in a few areas. But overall, it is a pretty cool looking Plesiosaurus. As far as the articulation past the point of the neck, you can just go forward and back, basically swivel these. Oddly enough, you can't go up and down, it seems. No, you can't. That's really weird. Normally you can with the marine reptiles, and it's going to be the same case back here, so just swivel articulation. Well, definitely less articulation on this figure than we've had in the past, and we do have a swivel tail. But that's kind of upsetting because, you know, we could have had much better articulation on this and much more posability, but instead we unfortunately have fairly limited articulation and posability. As far as a size goes, for a length from the snout to the tail, about 7 inches or around 17.5 centimeters, so it's a little less than 7 inches. And then obviously you're not going to get much in the way of like a height or anything. I guess if we technically stood it up nice and tall like this, if we can, and then put the head up, now we can kind of get a height. And that, you would see it at about 5 inches or a little hair under 13 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect Day human being next to our Plesiosaurus. And you can see again, it's nice and small. Being a Frenzy Pack figure, it's exactly where you would think it would be, especially if you've had any of the previous Plesiosaurs from Mattel. You're very clearly going to know the size of this one. And then I think we really only need one more comparison because we have one of the older Plesiosaurs from Mattel and we have the newer one here, and you can very clearly see they are pretty much in the exact same size range, just a little bit more, you know, girth in the flippers of the newer one, and then of course with these fins in the neck. But other than that, they are pretty much the same size. So this brand new Mattel Jurassic World Survival Frenzy Pack Plesiosaurus figure is unique, that's for sure. It's definitely not my favorite Plesiosaurus that we've had. It's also one of the more limited versions when it comes to articulation, but it's pretty fun for what it is. I do like, again, the fact that we have a little bit of like a mutated version with this one, because we've had Plesiosaurs in the past, so it's not like it's something that we're getting for the first time like we've had with other figures. So it is nice to have a little bit of a different version when it comes to this species. And I think about, you know, as far as mutated versions go, they did about as much as they can for this and gave it a very unique look and almost a possessed look, especially with those white eyes. It looks very creepy. The sculpt and fine detail is really well done, as per usual. The Plesiosaurs usually have pretty nice fine detail, and you do see the same with this one. The paintwork of this one is okay. It's not anything incredible or super flashy or amazing, but, you know, it's decent for what it is, I guess. And the articulation works well. It's just unfortunate that it's a lot more limited than we've had in the past. Like, we've had numerous neck joints in the Plesiosaurs, and we don't really have that. We've only got one neck joint in this one. We had more posability in the flippers, and we don't have that, unfortunately, with this one, just swivels. So the articulation definitely is a downgrade, but overall, it's still a pretty unique looking and interesting looking version of this species. So if you are interested, check your local Target, because that seems to be where they're still showing up. I haven't heard of anybody finding them at Walmart yet, so check Target. If they're not there now, hopefully they will be soon, and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.